board had engaged all of the communities in conversation, I think about 2 years ago now, around what was it that they were looking for from us as a school division in terms of charting a direction forward for the next number of years. So 3 key headings came out of the work that was done from information from our community, information from our students, and then of course direction from Manitoba Education, Early Childhood and Education and Learning. So these are the 3 headings that we are looking at for our strategic directions, and then we're going to look at how we're going to be budget focused under those areas. And just so a note, it was a little difficult at times to pull these out individually because there's so many ways that they overlap with one another. So you'll see that as we're speaking, that something that's a proactive intervention can also be innovative and flexible programming and also create that sensible learning and connection for our students. But we will start with proactive interventions. And so for us, the idea of proactive interventions is looking at how we can, at all grade levels, improve student learning and student well-being. And the ways that we want to do this is by building our students' resiliency through proactive interventions that foster critical thinking across the grades. And we also want to align our interventions with curricular outcomes and integrate the global competencies that the province has laid out for us as the foundational skills. So when we're looking at the budget, one of the areas that we are going to be focusing our attention on is literacy assessment and support. The province has introduced the universal screener that's going to be used at the K-4 level, and that's something that will be implemented at the start of next school year. And so we're in the midst of selecting a screener, training our staff, getting ready for that. And so as part of that screener, there'll be evidence of which students may need additional literacy supports. So in order to ensure that we're continuing to support our students in their literacy skills, we're going to maintain the literacy intervention support teachers that we have in our early years classrooms so that they can do that intensive support or come into the classroom and provide additional support with the classroom teacher. So they'll be working together to support students' early literacy skills. We also will want to support our library services support. We are, I think, somewhat unique as a school division in having our own coordinator of library services and our own professional development services center where there are so many library resources and that teachers can just ask for and ask support for, and our coordinator of library services has such a vast knowledge that they can write in and say, I'm doing grade 3 science and I need books on this topic, and she and her team will put them together and supply that. So that's just that extra benefit for our students and for our staff that we have those resources at our fingertips. In terms of attendance, we know that if the students are present and in school, then that always increases their opportunity to learn, and that then having them there daily is critical to their success. So we want to ensure that we are doing everything to help students be in school every day. So one of the items that we piloted this year was in-city busing. So we have 3 in-city buses in Dauphin that run every day, all the time. So even when we have to sometimes close or not run our buses in a rural because of the outlying conditions, we can still run them in school, and we've seen an increase in the number of students being able to attend on a regular basis because of that, and we want to continue that and see where else might we be able to support student attendance in this way. We also have community networkers, and they work within a variety of our buildings across the division, and they are really important in making those connections with families around attendance and finding out what might be the barriers for their children coming to school and how can they communicate that back to the school so the school can support the students and the families. And they also do a lot of work within our school buildings in terms of supporting student well-being. The next area in our strategic plan is innovative and flexible learning. So when we are talking about innovative and flexible learning, we're talking about putting programs that support diverse learning pathways and student engagement. And we want to do this by providing flexible learning experiences that enhance curriculum delivery and support diverse developmental needs and offer equitable access to our students. We also want to be guiding our students in personalized learning pathways that enable them to realize their full potential. We know each child is unique, and we want to be working with families and with children in looking at what pathway is best for them and their learning experience. So some of the ways that we want to do that is to continue our support for our applied technology, human ecology, and vocational programming that we have for grades 7 to 12. We also want to maintain the Indigenous education programming that we have going on throughout the division. We also have alternative education supports, primarily at our high school levels, and this is another pathway that some of our students take to ensure that they are gaining the credits that they need and receiving the supports that they need, and sometimes that may look like smaller classrooms or more one-on-one support that we are able to provide for them. We also are looking at continuing our Valuing the Whole Child program. This is a program that started off as a teacher idea grant that was done through the province 5 years ago, and it allows for full-time kindergarten at Whitmore Elementary. And so it is not just the full-time kindergarten, it also has a very strong family connection component where families come into the school and are building their understanding of their child, their understanding of culture, and connecting to the school and back to themselves. So this is something that we would like to see continue on. Even though the grant has ended, we would like to support that moving forward. And finally, we want to continue our support for our international student program, as we know that when our ISP team is bringing in students from around the world, that is always building our own students' level of understanding of a global society. It's exposing them to diversity of thought and experience, and maybe whetting their appetite to go other places and to have other experiences as they move forward. And finally, we have our belonging and connection. And in this area, we are looking at working with our students and our families and community to support them from a school-based level in feeling a part of the school that they attend. And we want to celebrate and acknowledge our students and their development, their growth, and their achievement, and also create safe and welcoming spaces that reflect the students' families and extended community. So to do this, we want to strengthen our school, family, and community connections. And we can do this by maintaining our Indigenous education facilitator position, as our facilitator works from a divisional level, ensuring that there's programming occurring across our schools to support land-based experiences, cultural experiences. And then also our divisional security measures. We want to ensure that we are making sure that our schools are safe, that we are taking care of our access points, our cameras, and even our online pieces in terms of software, and keeping up to date on those things. And then we also want to see an increase in our student well-being and family connections. So one of the areas we're going to do that and hope to do that moving forward is an increase in divisional clinicians, specifically social workers. So this won't be at the expense of our teaching staff. We are looking to maintain our teaching staff, but this will be focusing in on having those who have the expertise to make that connection between student and family and provide the supports that our students may need in-house at the school. We also want to continue our partnership with Kids Help Phone, which is an external organization that provides a lot of support for us as the division, and they will do kids can call, and also they will do sessions for us within the school when we ask. And finally, we want to continue our student well-being groups. So we have a number of our schools that have well-being groups where our students have opportunity to meet on a weekly basis and to take leadership positions within the school. And we even have one of our groups now who's beginning to do mentorship, or I guess 2 of our high school groups are now doing mentorship down to the early years. So we see that as a really important piece of not only the belonging connection for our high school students, but then them helping foster that in the younger students within the buildings. So those are our 3 main areas in the strategic plan and where we're hoping to focus our budget money. Whoop. So sorry. There. Okay, turn over to Secretary Treasurer.